Welcome back to Brett Breaks Things. Lot going on today with the big, beautiful bill, and we're going to go ahead and focus on that quite a bit today. As you know, it passed the Budgetary Committee last Sunday night after it failed on a Friday. Now we're talking about the big, beautiful bill trying to get to the House floor so they can debate it and vote on it. All right? That's what's going on right now. The big, beautiful bill is trying to move its way to the House floor. And so now it is stopped at the House Rules Committee. Okay, so it's stopped at the House Rules Committee, and that's where it's at right now. Some of you have heard they're working overnight to get this bill through to the House floor. Very controversial. Very, oh my God, they're coming to the House. They're coming to the Rules Committee at 1 a.m. They're going to work through the night because our politicians care so much about the future of this country that they're going to burn the midnight oil. And a lot of you guys, a lot of people, in America, maybe not you, but a lot of people in America, they hear, okay, the government is convening, getting together in a committee, and they're going to argue about a bill. We'll see what happens, right? Don't know too much about what's going on as far as where it is in the process. You just know that they're getting together, they're working through the night, they're trying to push this thing through. And there's reasons they're trying to push this thing through, and we're going to get to that. But what is the House Rules Committee? What is it? The House Rules Committee is like the gatekeeper or the bouncer to a party. The party being a bill getting to the House floor to be voted on. That's the party where they debate it and they vote on it. That's the party. The House Rules Committee is the bouncer to the party. Who's on it? Virginia Fox is the chairwoman. Michelle Feischbach from Minnesota. Ralph Norman, Chip Roy. We heard from Chip Roy, some clips from Chip Roy earlier about his dissension on this bill. But again, Democrats left, don't get too excited. It's not the type of dissension you would hope would be coming from the right. Aaron Houchin, we're going to hear from her later. Nicholas Langworthy from New York. Austin Scott. Morgan Griffin, Brian Jack. Those are the Republicans on the House Committee. And the 4 Democrats are Jim McGovern from Massachusetts. We're going to hear a lot from him today, all right, because he is really the only person in a position to vocally go to bat for the left, but not just for the left here, go to bat for the poorer and middle-class Americans. He is your advocate, okay, in these discussions in the House Rules Committee. He's the one that's going to bat for you. He's the one that's going to be most vocal, and you'll see some of that. Also, Gary Scanlon, Joe Nagise, and Teresa Fernandez, who I've got some video of her as well. Those are the 4 Democratic members on the House Rules Committee. Okay? The House Rules Committee, what does it do? What does it do? In this context, it's going to set the rules for the party. It's going to set the rules for the debate. The rules for the debate, what will be debated, how they will be debated. That's what the Rules Committee, for the most part, is going to be deciding, okay? And what will they be debating? Well, it's amendments to the bill. House members can submit amendments that they want to see in this bill, changes to the bill as it currently is, okay? So the Rules Committee gets these submitted amendments, and it's going to decide what type of amendments it's going to consider, how many it's going to consider, and what will be debated, what of the amendments will be debated on the floor. Type of amendments, the order in which they will be considered. It really is a political tool, though. Most of the members on the House Rules Committee, most of the members are handpicked by the Speaker, and it has very much been used as a partisan tool to either speed up or bottleneck and slow down as they see fit bills that want to go to the House. Okay? And so now they are rushing through. Right now, they're in rush mode. The Republicans on this committee want this to be rushed through. They have set a Memorial Day date to vote on this bill, to vote on it. Okay? They want to vote by Memorial Day, have their debates rushed in, and vote on the bill by Memorial Day. And they are doing that over at night, right? And they from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. It's still going. It's still going, and it will continue to go till they set the amendments that are going to be debated on and push it through the House. That's what this is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. That's how long it's going to go until they can decide on the amendments that will be considered for debate, how they will be considered, how they will be debated, and get it to the House floor. And they're rushing it through. Is this rare? Is this how it usually happens overnight like this? No. This is rare. This is pretty rare. It has happened before. It has happened before on a few occasions. And I'll give you those examples, but it's not a lot. This is pretty unprecedented for this type of legislation, for a budgetary bill like this to be debated on in the committee overnight, all through the night, all through the next day. That is rare. It is rare, but it has happened. Debt ceiling negotiations in 2011, 2013, and 2023. Those were mainly, the point of those were to keep the government open. Okay, so that was certainly an instance where this would be warranted. You would completely expect them. You would hope and expect your representatives to work through the night to keep the government open. 2011, 2013, 2023. Okay, all night sessions to avoid a government shutdown. In 2019 and 2021, they burned the midnight oil overnight for impeachment proceedings. Okay, and in 2017, I mentioned to you, other than the tax cuts in 2017 that Trump pushed through, he tried to push through the repealing of the ACA. I mentioned that yesterday. Shot down by McCain, and I, for some reason, had a brain fart and invoked the name of Dick Cheney. I just got confused for a second, facts in my head. It was McCain. I had it right the first time. It was McCain who dramatically went up to the House floor on his own, under his own power somehow, and thumbs downed the repealing of the ACA, ensuring health care for millions and millions of poorer and middle-class Americans who depended on it. He was a hero in that hour. I mean, it was really something quite remarkable, to be honest with you. And the House wanted to push through the Build Back Better Act in 2021. That was one of the hallmark pieces of legislation of the Biden campaign, and they went overnight to do that. What kind of amendments are we talking about? Well, there's a lot of them. 537 amendments to this bill has been submitted by House members to this point. Obviously, they will not all be debated. Many of them will not be considered for debate and make it to the debate in this bill. Many of them won't. But Representative Stephen Horsford from Nevada, he's been busy on these amendments. I'm just going to give you a couple of these. These are the type of amendments we're talking about here. And he's a Democrat out of Nevada, and he is trying to get something done for you and me. I'm assuming the billionaire class isn't a fan of Brett Breaks Things. That's my assumption. Am I appealing to billionaires? I have no idea. Will I appeal? I doubt it. Don't have a ton in common. He wants to protect startup tax deduction for small businesses. He wants to raise the deduction for small businesses from $5,000 to $50,000. That would be quite a boon for small businesses in this country. That would be a gigantic leap in deductions for small businesses. And we're going to talk about more about deductions in the show, because the SALT rates, the SALT taxation, the state and local taxation, that's a big point in this bill. And I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to the major points of the bill, too. I'm already running up against the break in this first segment, but I'm going to get to the major points of the bill. Stephen Horsford also wants to increase the tax credit for travel expenses, domestic travel expenses. Okay, he wants to make it easier for families who have to travel around for whatever reason, getting your kids to school, getting to work, getting necessary provisions for your homestead, things you have to travel for. Okay, he wants to raise that. He wants to raise it for $4,000 per household to deduct against domestic travel expenses. That sounds great. Love this guy. He joined in with Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat from Virginia. Veterans and workers impacted by federal workforce reductions. Incentives for businesses to hire veterans and workers that were bleep canned by this Doge initiative. They want to make it easier, more incentive for jobs to hire you.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things.
And hold on.
You're back with Brett Breaks Things, because democracy doesn't defend itself.
All right, so I'm going to try to move quickly. I just got yelled at by Scotty because I'm not moving fast enough. I just got berated by Scotty. So I'm going to sit here and talk and waste time about how Scotty's being mean to me.
Good job.
So I just wanted to put one last thing, which I think this is awesome. Rep. Jake Auchincloss from Massachusetts, another Democrat, one of his amendments, and I was just talking about the amendments, some of the amendments that have been proposed of the 537 that they have to consider. He wants to delay implementation of this bill because the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, they inspect tax cuts and spending provisions to ensure accountability from this Trump administration. Their purpose is to make sure that the bill does not disproportionately benefit anybody who is connected with Trump in any way, donors, friendly companies, people, business partners, family members. This accountability office, its whole purpose is to hold the administration accountable. And Jake Auchincloss, he's saying, hold on a second, you're trying to push this thing through. We don't even know, we don't have a full review of who's going to truly benefit from this. We want the American people to know that Trump donors are getting special treatment out of this bill, that the billionaires and millionaires that cozy up to this dude are the ones who really are going to benefit for this thing. Give us a chance. Give the GAO a chance. Now, you can be sure that will not be considered. That's a promise. That is a promise from me to you. They will not consider that. So this bill, the main sticking points of the bill, okay, what this bill's really about is to extend and make permanent the 2017 tax cuts. That's what the bill is really about. And now there's a little give and take. And they're not really trying to make concessions to the Democrats. That's not really what's happening here. The Democrats are going to, of course, have their beefs, submit their amendments, cry havoc. But it's really the moderate and the fiscally conservative GOP that they're concerned about. That's who they have to convince. That's whose amendments they're going to consider, because that's whose votes they actually need. They don't care about Democratic votes. They don't need them. They've got a 6-seat majority in the Senate, 53 to 47. They will get whatever they want past there. And they hold, I think, a 7-seat majority in the House, which is much closer. And that is why they have to appeal to any dissenters on their own side. That's what's really going on here. And I mentioned Chip Roy, and you're going to hear from him later if I can get to all the videos. You mentioned Chip Roy. I mentioned Chip Roy. You saw Chip Roy. He wants more cuts to Medicaid. That's his problem. More cuts to Medicaid. And other fiscal conservatives, other fiscal hawks, their problem is we're not cutting enough into the poor and middle class to pay for this tax cut for the upper class. That's their problem, right? Cuts to Medicaid, food assistance programs, green energy initiatives, and it's going to add about $3.8 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. One of the main sticking points of this bill, and this is how they're going to turn some of those Republicans who are in blue state districts. Blue states are taxed more, some of them, high tax states like New York, California. They have state tax. Florida doesn't have a state tax. They have a state tax. And a lot of these Republicans from these blue states, red districts, blue states, they know damn well that their voting base is tied in, is extremely concerned about the SALT taxation. Right now, it has a deduction of $10,000. So when you do your taxes and you get ready to pay your state tax, and you have a really good accountant, and the accountant says, "Hey, we can drum up $20,000 in tax cuts on your business, on your on your taxation. But right now, you can only take 10,000 of them, 10,000 of that, okay? Or I could get 30 or 40. Right now, you can only deduct 10,000, pay the rest. This bill proposes to raise that to $40,000. That's a good thing, okay? That's a good thing. And Republicans in blue states know it's a good thing for their voting base. Now, many households in these states, in these blue states that have the state tax, many of the households will not be able to reach that level. So on its face, it feels like something very good for everybody. In reality, it's something very good for the wealthy, okay? Upper, middle, and above, because only that bracket of income can take advantage of a $30,000 or $40,000 tax, a tax break. The deduction, I'm sorry. I flaked on the word deduction. Okay, so we're going to get to some of the sounders. I'm going to play you this one because I find this one very interesting and hilarious.
Of our salary, the lights, and the entire freight of the federal government. So we talk about tax fairness and equity. They have an interest.
That's Ralph Norman. I mentioned him already. He's on the committee. He's a Republican from the committee. Ralph Norman, right there, you think he's an old man falling asleep at 2 a.m. But what that really is him demonstrating what he wants you, the American people, to do while they rob you blind. Okay? He wants you to go to sleep. Check it out. He's sleeping. You can go to sleep too. Don't worry about this. Don't look into it. Don't do a deep dive on what we're doing here. Just go to sleep. But McGovern, okay, so he had some thoughts on this.
Madam Chair, before we get into the substance here, I've got a simple question. What the hell are Republicans so afraid of? What the hell are you so scared of that you guys are holding this hearing at 1 o'clock in the morning? It's a simple question that speaks to the heart of what's going on here, and one that I'm going to keep on asking. If Republicans are so proud of what is in this bill, then why are you trying to ram it through in the dead of night? If you guys are so proud to kick 14 million people off Medicaid, if you guys are so proud to rip food assistance out of the refrigerators of moms and dads and their kids, if you guys are so proud of shutting down rural hospitals and hurting our farmers, if you guys really think these are such great, awesome, beautiful things to do, like Trump keeps saying, then why not hold this hearing at 1 p.m. and not 1 a.m.? Why not debate this bill in prime time when most of the American people can watch? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I think it's prime time in Guam.
Yeah, why not? Why are we doing this overnight? Why aren't we doing this clearly in the public view? Why are we like thieves in the night? Like little cat burglars creeping into your wallets in the middle of the night, trying to get this bill passed when all of you are sleeping so you can get up in the morning and go to work to collect an income for your family, to pay for your lifestyle and your kids, so they can rob you from it. They can rob it from you. They can take it from you and give it to the billionaires and millionaires, because that's what they're doing. And they also are doing it this night, at night, because they know who's actually going to be affected by this. 70% of the people losing Medicaid from this bill are Trump supporters. 70%. Once again, they don't care about you. They need MAGA, but they do not care about the livelihood of MAGA.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break.
The brightest around the world.
Brett breaks things. fighting for America one mic drop at a time.
It's just over 100 days, and you guys have gone from promising to lower costs to ripping away people's health care. Now, of course, you don't want anyone to know what you're doing here. It's because you know that this bill betrays the people who voted for you. You have the most ineffective Congress in a century. You have passed almost no legislation into law. And this is how you want to roll out your big centerpiece legislation at 1 o'clock in the morning. This isn't just incompetence. It's much more nefarious than that. You are intentionally hiding what you are doing. What an insult to the people of this country. What disdain you guys must have for the people who voted for you. You know, people are so tired of getting screwed over by a system that doesn't work for them. America is fed up with this BS, and people want change. And I don't blame them. I'm fed up, too. They want us to make things better for regular people. And what your big, ugly bill does is the exact opposite. You guys and Trump are perpetuating the exact broken system that people hate. You're rigging things for the rich and powerful. More tax breaks for billionaires while regular people get screwed. More giveaways for those at the top while moms and dads struggle to get by. More loopholes into the tax code for Wall Street CEOs and bankers while working families fall further and further behind. That's the Republican agenda. That's what you guys think is big and beautiful. Greed, corruption, and tax breaks for billionaires.
Okay. It is a big, beautiful tax break for wealthy Americans and corporations. That is what it is. McGovern is calling it out. He knows the deal, okay? He knows the assignment. He knows the assignment. He's seen this, and he knows it, and he knows how to defend it. I mean, ultimately, his efforts will probably be in vain. It is what it is. This is what happens when you lose the House and the Senate and the executive branch. You can scream and cry and complain and amend all you want, but ultimately, if they can whip their own side in to get in line, that's it. Game over. And he opened that clip talking about betraying your voters. He's not talking to Democrats. He's not talking to Democratic representatives. He's talking to the Republicans. You are betraying your voters, and they are, as I mentioned, 70% of the people losing Medicaid through this bill are Trump supporters. Okay? Rural states like Mississippi and Louisiana, they have an inordinate amount of people. I'm trying to be, Scott's laughing at me. I'm trying to be tactful here. They have more people enrolled into Medicaid than most other states. I think you know how Mississippi and Louisiana lean politically. States with smaller budgets. Now, we have talked about, Randy used to talk about a lot, and you may have seen, or you may have heard, or you may be privy to information about how blue states kind of pay for red states in this country. Red states don't really produce as much money, generally, as blue states do, especially the stauncher MAGA red states like Mississippi, Louisiana, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia. They don't make as much money as California, New York, Illinois. They just don't. And they end up getting paid for by these other states through federal taxes. But when it comes to picking up the tab for Medicaid, because 60 to 75% of Medicaid benefits is picked up by the state, okay? These states that don't make as much money, they won't be able to cover this. What does that mean? You're done. You're off. You're off. You lose it. We can't cover it. What we can provide you in assistance to this Medicaid does not cover the overall cost. Between your income and what you can pay and what we're helping, it's not going to get it done. Other people affected by this, non-educated, working low wages, they have increased dependence on Medicaid. Hospital closures, over 8,000 hospital beds are expected to disappear because of this. Okay, and of course, providers who can't make this meet, can't make the ends meet, the numbers don't work out for providers in these states, they'll just stop. You're going to lose anywhere between 150 and 500 providers. Obviously, that's a big range, and we'll see how that plays out going forward. One guy Democrat Brendan Boyle, he's on the budget committee. Okay, it passed his committee, but he's on the budget committee. He knows what's going on with this bill, and he spoke quite a bit here in the committee, in the rules committee. Let's hear what he has to say.
And does that, in the end, mean most working Americans will be better off? No. Because also out from CBO just tonight are the distributional effects of this bill. It's in its entirety. And what does it show? The bottom 10% of Americans will actually be poorer as a result of this bill, with the biggest benefit going to the top 1% of Americans. What is also quite clear is that this bill is not entirely paid for. Even after all of those cuts to Medicaid, all of those cuts to Medicare, all of those cuts to the Affordable Care Act and nutrition assistance and on, they don't come close to paying for the cost of the tax cuts.
Wait a second, Mr. Boyle, Democrat out of Philly. Did you say cuts to Medicare? We haven't been talking about cuts to Medicare. We've been talking about cuts to Medicaid. We've been talking about cuts to SNAP. We haven't been talking about cuts to Medicare yet. Well, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Although cuts to Medicare are not specifically laid out in the bill, because the bill will increase our deficit, it will trigger something called pay-go, pay as you go. This was a bill implemented, this is a law implemented, rather, to ensure that anything that goes through the House that will increase our deficit is offset automatically by cuts to certain federal benefits, like Medicare. How much? This might shock you.
Does this bill trigger statutory pay-go?
Yes, and it's not me saying it. It is the Congressional Budget Office confirming it as of a couple hours ago. And look, this is really the breaking news, because when the Budget Committee kicked off this process approximately 3 months ago, there was a commitment by President Trump that there would be no Medicare cuts in this piece of legislation. And indeed, over the last several months, there's been no discussion of Medicare at all. There has been of Medicaid, but not of Medicare. Well, here we are tonight because, as you explained, because of the size of the deficits, because of the pay-go or pay-as-you-go act, that would trigger sequestration of Medicare, and it would total over $500 billion. The official figure that CBO confirms is $535 billion in cuts to Medicare.
What? But there's got to be something you can do about that, right? Can't you waive pay-go? Can't you do a simple majority in the House, Senate, and then have it signed by the president to waive pay-go? Because that is a thing. Hold on.
There are some who might want to argue and rebut that by saying, well, we'll just go ahead and waive pay-go. It's actually impossible in reconciliation because it would not meet to the requirements of the Berg rule. So you cannot waive pay-go. These cuts to Medicare will happen if this bill becomes law.
So what he's saying is, he's talking about the waiving pay-go through reconciliation. Reconciliation can only be implemented on budgetary items. Because this is a flat tax cut, you cannot use reconciliation to waive pay-go in this instance. That means that $500 billion is coming right out of Medicare's ass. Period. End of story. So tack that on. It's not just Medicaid, not just SNAP, Medicare as well.
We'll be back to break it all down. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Now back to Brett Breaks Things, smashing spin, silencing the noise, and keeping it all facts. No fluff.
Okay. I'm sure this is going to be a major MAGA outlet in the media. I'm sure MAGA is going to come flocking to Brett Breaks Things. I'm sure of it. And so that little last bit was that was for you, MAGA. That was for you. Just as you watch the ICE raids and get your nips all hard over ICE breaking glass on in immigrants' cars and dragging them out and busting down their doors and immigrants crying as their loved ones get deported in front of their eyes. I hope that's enough for you. And I do have video of that stuff. Once again, I've mentioned it before, but we'll see what we get to. We've got some stuff that we want to get to that we just haven't gotten to because there's been so much breaking stuff on this big, beautiful bill. But I hope the trajectory of the country in terms of brown people is enough to satiate you because it's getting stuck right to you. This administration is not concerned about the welfare of you or your family. They're simply not. So we've talked about where they're taking money. They're slashing Medicaid, slashing SNAP. It's going to cost $500 billion in Medicare because of the PAYGO provision. All these things affecting you. And while they're cutting these things, well, they're also giving your money to other places. They're taking your money and they're spending it in other places as they're cutting from you, from your wallet directly. What are one of those places? An increase in the defense budget, of course. Of course, because if Republicans get to anything other than tax cuts for the wealthy, the other thing they will get to is defense budgets increasing, an increase in defense spending. And I know that a lot of people, left and right, have no problem with this. And in theory, in all things being equal, in a vacuum, I have no problem with it either. We're going to spend in defense. Now, is our defense budget way above and beyond our contemporary countries? Yes. Yes, much more than countries like France, Germany, England, India, much more. But it's going to get bigger. And McGovern addressed this. I had a video for it. I don't know. It must have gotten lost in the ether, but I'll read you what McGovern said. Many have expressed concerns over how Hegseth has managed the Pentagon, prioritizing loyalty over competence. Now is not an appropriate time to gift the Department of Defense an additional $150 billion on top of the $850 that was already provided to them over the next 10 years. They're adding $150 to it. And McGovern's beef with that, and some other people's beef on both sides of the aisle, is that Pete Hegseth is incompetent. That's the problem here. He's not good at his job, and they don't trust how he'll spend this money. He is one of 36 ex-Fox News employees that is now put in a position of power in this administration, and that seems to be the whole deal, right? It's Celebrity Apprentice extended, right? He sees somebody on TV, he likes what they said, and he gives them a job. It's that simple. But people have problems with Pete Hegseth. They have problems with his grandstanding. That seems to be the new key term. When Republicans want to attack other Republicans, they call them grandstanding. Obviously, his lack of experience and his abject loyalty to this administration is a problem, but a lot of people have pointed to Signalgate as being one of the main reasons. He's incompetent. He's not good at his job. But there's other places this money's being spent, entertaining places. Let's check out this clip because this one's entertaining for a number of reasons.
Are you asking?
Would you please, so that the American public knows what this bill does, one of the little things that it does, would you please read page 901, line 20?
I think it'd be better if you read it.
Oh, he doesn't want to read it. I'll read it.
I know the
actually,
legislation, but
Ranking
I'm not
Member
gonna be part
Moore,
of your little
Ranking Member
show
Moore
here, so you can read it.
It was a question if you would read it, so I'll ask Ranking
sit
Member
down?
Moore to read the text. This is in their bill. They don't want to read a line from their own bill. Ranking Member.
I don't want to read the bill for you.
I'll help you out.
I am testifying about this legislation. I'm not going to read the bill to you.
Okay, I am. This is amazing.
Miss
You are
Lager
on-
Fernandez, shall I pass this back or shall I read it for
why don't you just read it?
I am a member of this committee. I am the
Line 20.
ranking vice chair of the committee. It says Section 111106, repeal of excise tax on indoor tanning services.
So they're going to they're repealing an excise tax on tanning beds. They're repealing a tax on silencers. At the same, so they're going to, okay, so if you have a tanning bed, you get a little bit of a tax break. And if you need a hospital bed in rural America, I'm sorry, you're out of luck.
Yeah, you're out of luck.
Right?
You're out of luck. There's going to be 8,000 plus less hospital beds, but obviously this is a major issue for lower income MAGA supporters in Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. Obviously this is a big thing for you because you guys all have commercial tanning beds. That's what they're prioritizing. That's who they're worried about. Owners of commercial tanning beds and silencers. Silencers for guns to kill people silently. And by the way, who raised you, Jason Smith, Republican out of Missouri? Who raised you? Now, if I were more inflammatory, I would call him a scumbag. If I was, but I'm not going to do that.
If you come from a family of people who run puppy mills, I mean, I think that's a pretty apt description.
And that's what Jason does.
His family, yes.
His family runs puppy mills.
Yes, mother.
That sounds charming.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversies behind that, so.
Charming.
Yeah.
So all of you MAGA Republicans out there who were worried about Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP, don't worry, because your silencers there's going to be a gigantic deduction on your silencer purchases and the expense to run your commercial tanning beds. I mentioned this bill is not popular with many Republicans, and it is because they know that it will adversely affect their votes. Period. There is dissension amongst the Republicans on this bill.
They chose to wait to the last minute.
And why is that? What's the reason for that?
You'll have to ask them. It was a pretty stupid exercise, frankly.
When you work hard to get an agreement and the committees pass stuff out and then people come in and want to undo them, it makes us mad. You got an angry group of folks out there.
Can you support it?
No, we've got lots of work to go. Lots of miles to put in on this thing.
Should they have this 1 a.m. meeting on Wednesday?
No. They're trying to run it in through the JEP teams, and I just don't agree with that. I mean, I'll keep working in good faith to try to make the bill as good as it can be and then decide where things stand. I think it's not the way we should do business.
Screw you, Chip Roy. That's how I feel about that, because he's all upset because there's not deep enough cuts to entitlements. There's not deep enough cuts to Medicaid.
Brett, I cannot tell you the amount of clips that I found this morning of Republicans talking against this bill in general, and then when asked if they're going to vote for it, they're like, well, yeah, we're going to vote for it. I mean, it's just too many to pull. There's not enough time in the day, but like, it's just there's example after example after example of them just contradicting what they're saying about what they want. But this is the best thing that we got, so unless there's anything better, this is what we're going to go with. Wow.
Yeah. They're going to dissent against it, and the dissension is to get their amendments in. That's what that dissension from the Republicans is all about. They all have interests in this bill, deep-rooted interests inside the bill, and they want their concessions paid attention to, so they're going to speak out a little bit. I can't even get to Houchin or Andy Barr. I almost got there, Scott. I had two more.
You did good, bud.
Thank you. Andy Harris, more dissension from the left. Chairman of the Freedom Caucus, Andy Harris, said, quote, "There's no way it passes today. It got worse overnight." Oh, boo-hoo. Those are the grandstanders that Trump is talking about. Those are the grandstanders. And maybe I'll get to Houchin tomorrow, because she starts lying about the bill and saying it's going to decrease the deficit rather than increase the deficit. Those numbers fly in the face of the CBO, which she doesn't trust, and we'll get into that when we get a chance.
They'll try to repair the narrative, but Brett Breaks Things will be back tomorrow to break it all down.